This is the real true story of 300, Gideon's army. This is Judges chapter 6. Judges meaning to rule, to set things right. And no other nation before or since has had an office similar to that of the Israelites, an office of the judge. Judge meaning to rule, set things right. Israel defeated the Midianites 200 years, just over 200 years prior by the Lord, then fell back to Baal, idol worship. The Midianites would oppress children of Israel for 7 years. When the children of Israel cried to the Lord, he heard them, and the angel of the Lord manifest, came to Gideon, son of Joash, Israel's 5th judge. Othniel would be the first, Ehud would be the second, Shamgar would be the third, Deborah the fourth. Gideon being the 5th, telling him, the Lord telling him that he'd deliver Israel out from the Midianites, smote them. Gideon meaning cut her down, and he would, with the Lord, cut them down. The Lord chooses humble people. Gideon was a humble man. The Lord did the work, miracles. He would work miracles through this man, Gideon. You can also read in Josh chapter 1 verse 5. The Lord with you, no one who can be against you. Gideon asked for signs, set out food for the angel of the Lord. The Lord touched the staff to the food. Fire rose out of the rock and consumed offerings. And then the Lord disappeared. The same night, the Lord told Gideon to smash the altar, the two idols, Baal and Ashtaroth, and told him to smash them. And then told him to build with the 2 bullocks, and told him to build an altar, and on the rock he would consume the offering. And the Lord and Gideon brought it, 2 bullocks with the other bullock, smashed the idols with 1 bullock, and brought the other one for the sacrifice, laid it on the rock, and the Lord fire come out of the rock and consumed the offering, the other bullock, when the Lord touched the staff to it. Hence Gideon's name being cut down as the groves. And so the Midianites, anyway, Midianites came, and Joash, Gideon's father, said, let your God, he told him to let your God kill my son. Hence Zerubbabel, meaning let your God fight for himself or do his own fighting. Baal being a type for the Antichrist, who set up his throne in Jerusalem. Who will set up his throne in Jerusalem? The Antichrist will, just like he'll set up his throne. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Just as Baal's altar had no place among the people of Israel, Antichrist's throne has no place in Jerusalem. The Midianites, Amalekites, and the children of the east were on the east side of the Jordan. They crossed west, where some were already there, crossed back and forth. There was no one to challenge them, and they were as numerous as the sand of the sea. So the Spirit of the Lord came to Gideon, which meaning clothed, as to stand against the fiery darts of Satan. Clothed Gideon. Then Gideon called to war, blew the trumpet, and called the war, sent messages to all his brothers, Asher, Zebulun, Naphtali, and half of Manasseh on the west side of the Jordan. And they came. Zebulun and Naphtali fought the Canaanites prior to this and weren't afraid of anyone. Then Gideon asked the Lord for more signs for him to save Israel, that he would be the one, and to show him. And so he set out a fleece, and in the morning the Lord gave the sign. And Gideon did this another time, and the Lord obliged to show Gideon he would lead Israel out from the oppression with the fleece and of the Midianites. He would lead them out from the oppression of the 7 years that the Midianites oppressed the children of Israel. Then Gideon and the 32,000 rose up early and camped near to the Midianites, Amalekites, and the children of the east. The 32,000 that were with them, they camped near the children of the east, the Amalekites and Midianites, their army of 135,000 of them. 4 to 1, they were outnumbered. The Gideon's army, the 4 to 1 outnumbered. Then the Lord said to Gideon, there's too many people. They'll boast, they'll think that they've defeated themselves. And like Genesis chapter 11, the Tower of Babel, when people think that they get their own salvation. So the Lord told Gideon, tell them whoever is afraid can go home and leave Mount Gilead, which is Mount Gilboa, which is on the west side of the Jordan. Gilead was on the east side, so it would be Mount Gilboa. 32,000 of them. He said, anyone who wants to leave is afraid, they can go. So 32,000 of them left. So there was 22,000 left. 22,000 out of the 32,000 left. So there was 10,000 left. Still way too many for the Lord. He'll be reducing that to 300. So the Lord said to bring them down to the water, and he'll pick out the best. God knows everybody's hearts. So they went down to the spring of Herod, the water. You can read back in verses 1 or 2 of chapter 7 in Judges, what we're reading now, chapter 7. And the Lord told Gideon, whoever picks the water up to their face and laps the water, they're the ones who you would want to keep. You have put them on one side, which means ready for battle. They're anxious and ready to fight. The ones who knelt down and drank out of the water went on the other side. They're used to bowing down to Baal, to the idols, and the Baal being type for Antichrist in the future. So those who lapped from the hand were 300. 300 means strength of the Spirit of the Lord Almighty. He's His strength, not ours. This is how we conquer and do things. So the Lord said, by those 300 will I, Lord, save you, and send the rest home, the 9,700. So the rest of the 9,700 went home. Then the 300, they took supplies from the 9,700 that was left, the trumpets, all the trumpets and food. Midianites, 135,000 was waiting on them. That night the Lord came and said, go down to the enemy, don't be afraid. So Gideon and Phurah, which is branch, meaning the Lord Jesus, the branch, which is our branch, and servant. So Gideon and Phurah, the Lord, went and heard a dream from a prophecy from the Lord at the edge of the camp, from a Midianite soldier, that the Midianite general tent would be destroyed and fall. This is the sword of Gideon, divine. They heard the man's dream say, this is the sword of Gideon, divine intervention. They will be delivered. So immediately Gideon, the cutter down, meaning Gideon's name meaning the cutter down, bowed and worshipped the Lord Almighty after hearing the dream. And Gideon divided the 300 into 3 companies of 100, which means God's elect or chosen, by those chosen by God for these end times. Then they put lamps, solid plates, and trumpets in each soldier's hands, and kept the lights hidden, then snuck up on the Midianites and went all around them. Then they'd yell and sound the sword of the Lord, Gideon, which was spread around the Midianites' camp. By that time, it would be spread around the Midianites' camp, and they would all have heard about it. And so they yelled it out, and it was playing into the interpretation of the dream that they had all heard about. So shortly after midnight, they blew the trumpets and broke pitchers, and the lights were everywhere. And the trumpets normally would be one for each company, but each of Gideon's soldiers had one each. Each soldier had their own, surprising the enemy, the Midianites, etc. So God's in control of the enemy. He had them running and scattered. Then the Lord had them, the enemy, all killing themselves, which you can read just like back in 2 Chronicles chapter 20, when Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, went to fight the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Edomites, and God had them as well killing each other. And Gideon and his men, after the enemy had scattered, went towards Jordan to ask for help from the other brothers. So the rest of the ones the Lord had sent home, the ones that were sent for, the rest of the 32,000 of Israel, Nephalti, Asher, and all of Manasseh, chased and cut them off at the Jordan. They were cutting them off at the Jordan so they couldn't cross. So the Midianites and etc. had all of Israel's possessions. They wanted to take everything, but they wanted to take the land, etc., and all their possessions and take over the promised land. So they were kind of slow at traveling, So Ephraim, the Ephraimites, Gideon's brethren, caught up, killed the 2 princes of the Midianites, killed them all, and he beheaded the 2 princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeb, and delivered their heads to Gideon. You can read in Isaiah chapter 10 verse 26, where this was a great victory, what it's going to be like when the Antichrist is defeated. So the locust army defeated, so they were defeated, the locust army, as well as in the future locust army that will be defeated and delivered by the Lord. Those who support the Antichrist, as you can read in Revelation chapter 9 and Joel chapter 1 and 2, the locust army. Well, thanks for listening to 300, and to study to show yourself approved, rightly dividing the word of the truth. Thanks for listening.